and gentlemen, welcome to today's AENC Speaker Showcase, brought to you by PRiSM Speakers. And now, please welcome your AENC President, Lisa Ward.
Wow, I mean, that was reason enough to get up this morning. Thank you. And welcome to our 37th annual trade show, which is pretty amazing. I also want to thank everybody who came to the reception last night to help us honor Javita and kick off the event. I thought that was amazing. I want to begin just by thanking everybody who made this event possible. There are a lot of people and a lot of resources that go into an event like this. Certainly the trade show committee, our volunteers and our staff for planning and putting this whole event together. So a round of applause for them. Thank you. And then in addition, we had an amazing number of sponsors who also made this event possible. They're listed in your program. If you have a chance to say hello and thank them, I know they'd appreciate it. We also have exhibitors, full house of exhibitors, as I understand, that you'll meet on the show floor, and if you can say hello to them and thank them for their participation as well. At this point, I'd like to recognize our President's Club partner, which is Caesar Entertainment. This is a program that helps our affiliate members plan their participation in AENC on an annual basis. And if you'd like to get more information on being part of that program, please see Maddie. So we've got a busy day and like to get started. Each year, the Destination Marketing Association of North Carolina, which is more commonly known as DMANC, sponsors the seminars and co-sponsors the lunch at this event. Please welcome Christian Schroeder on behalf of DMANC.
Thank you, Lisa. We are very excited to be an annual sponsor with AENC and partner with this event on behalf of DMANC. You know, each year we enjoy being a sponsor, but this year especially, as you referenced, with Javita's final AENC Trade Show December event, it certainly is a little extra special, and we certainly appreciate all the contributions that Javita Mask has had, not only to AENC, but to our entire industry. So I know Javita's running around, but do want to thank her. I have this opportunity to thank her for all that she's done for us. Destination Marketing Association of North Carolina is actually comprised of convention visitors bureaus and tourism development authorities that really that focus on economic development and bringing tourism and convention meetings to their communities for the betterment of their communities. And that couldn't be possible without your support. So we would just want to emphasize how much we value your business. We look forward to working with you. We appreciate the business you've brought to us in the past. You know, obviously it's a great opportunity for networking and education when you bring your programs to our communities, but it's also an opportunity for folks to enjoy the livelihood in their own communities with the jobs and the economic development that you provide them with the economic impact your programs have. So on behalf of all our destinations, thank you. We value your business, and we certainly look forward to the opportunity of working with you in the future. And if there's anything we can do on behalf of any of our destinations to bring your events or your programs to our communities, know that we're a partner, and we look forward to that opportunity. Thank you, and have a great day.
Okay. Thanks to Christian. And just asking, is Rich Geiger here?
He is not today.
All right, well, we wish him a speedy recovery. Thanks, Christian, for your support. And with no further ado, this is going to be an exciting program this morning, and we have a partnership with PRiSM Speakers. So if you'd join me in welcoming Evan Carroll with PRiSM Speakers.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And now by the magic, I tell you, by the magic of a little thing we call stagehands, I am going to make this lectern disappear. I am going to make this lectern disappear. Third time's a charm. I'm going to make this lectern disappear. There we go. Welcome, everyone. The folks at AENC were so kind to bring in PRiSM Speakers. By the way, that is PRiSM with an M, not prison. So we are all, to my knowledge, there are no warrants out for our arrest. We are speakers. of many different persuasions and colors, as in the PRiSM, not those who might be incarcerated. Just to make that clear. Are we good on that? Say okay if you get that. Okay. Brilliant. I see all of you had your coffee. That's wonderful. And so PRiSM is a group of professional speakers based right here in North Carolina. Every speaker that you see today will either lives in or spends a significant amount of time living inside North Carolina. So it's an opportunity for, if you want to book a local speaker for one of your meetings, all of these folks are available. They're available to you directly or through your favorite speakers bureau. Now, I think it is absolutely wonderful that we have such a talent of local speakers, because guess what? When they're local, you ordinarily don't have to pay travel. And that gives you a little bit more of a discount to make it all happen. All the speakers over there are saying, man, they're in our travel budget. Sorry, guys. Well, at this point, we need to get started with the program. First of all, thank you all so much for being here. And they told me I needed to talk long enough to make the lectern disappear. So I think we've covered that. I want to introduce you today to our MC for the event. And her name is Wendy Corbett. She is an international speaker. She's just finished her term on the International ATD Board of Directors. She is a speaker in her own right. She is a slide designer, serving most recently as slide designer for TEDx Raleigh. All of that to say is, Wendy is a big deal. And I would hope that what you would do for me right now is that you would clap your hands, hoot and holler all you can for Wendy Corbett.
Evan, I want to bring you with me everywhere. I want to record that introduction because I love the idea that I'm a big deal. Who knew? Good morning. I am delighted to see all of you here, and I am proud to be your MC this morning. I've been a member of PRiSM for about 4 years, and when I first learned about PRiSM, which by the way stands for Professionals in Speaking Mastermind, when I first learned about it, I thought, it's a group of speakers that get together and do what? And it turns out that we help each other. We like each other. We do business with each other, and we help serve the community. So that's what we do. And you are going to hear a lot about what we do today. Let's start with our first speaker, though. I've got to tell you something really interesting about this person. He's not just a little bit. He's not just kinda, sorta. He is very, very, very bald. Bald, B-A-L-D. Justin Jones Fosu is a husband, a daddy, an entrepreneur, an author, and a speaker, in that order. He also does laundry and other household projects, by the way. He speaks about 70 to 80 times a year for corporations, associations, and educational institutions in the US on peak performance, everyday diversity, and legendary leadership. Justin's background in human resources development, his background is in human resources development, and he earned his MBA specializing in leadership and organizational change. He's gained valuable leadership experience working with 3 Fortune 500 companies. He was recently named Ebony Magazine's top 30 young leaders on the rise. And he's the author of 3 books, the most recent being Your Why Matters Your Why Matters Now, How Some Achieve More and Others Don't, which will be released January 31st, 2019. If you only remember a few things about Justin, remember that he is madly in love with his wife and his daughter, and he loves being a daddy. To him, these are so much more important than recognition, accolades, and accomplishments. Get ready for a high-energy presentation that will entertain, educate, and inspire you, but most importantly, will challenge you to achieve more. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Justin Jones Fosu.
All
Awesome. So I want to start this thing off right. I want you to turn to the person next to you and say, neighbor. So you look good this morning, but not as good as me. All right. The sad part is that some of y'all really meant that. Yeah, you looked at the person next to you like, yeah, you definitely don't look as good as me, right? Now, as we dive into this, a little bit of things could be shared, like a little bit about my history. Now, I have the awesome privilege of traveling across the country, speaking about 70 to 80 times a year for corporations like Mercedes-Benz, Toyota, John Deere, or fifth graders in North Carolina. And I love what I do, right? But outside of all the accolades and all the awards, all that stuff means absolutely nothing compared to this. And this is my beautiful wife, Stephanie. And we live in Charlotte, North Carolina. We've been married for 12 years. And if I could be honest, we are super goofy. Any other goofy ones in the room? Okay, the honest ones, right? We're so goofy, y'all, that sometimes we wake up in the morning, we just start dancing with each other, just dancing. And then one morning, our dancing led to this. And we had an amazing time, right? That's like a lot of dancing, right? Now, this is our princess, Lydia, and our son, Peter. And the reason I share this with you as we talk about your why matters now is I want to speak to you not just as professionals, right? I want to speak to you in totality of who you are. Because many years, we try to tell people, well, leave home at home and leave work at work. But how many of you all know that home impacts work and work impacts home? Yeah. And so I don't want to just speak to you as a professional. I want to speak to who you are as an individual, as a person, as a spouse, as a partner, as a pet lover, or whatever that may be. So as we dive into this, I have to ask a quick question. Now, how many of you all have seen any of the Old Spice commercials? All right. Now, have you seen the one back in the day where the guy was like, look at your man, now back to me, now back at your man, now back to me. He had diamonds and he ended with, I'm on a horse, right? Whether it was that commercial or any other commercials, in those commercials, what did that guy possess? Charisma? What else? Some of the abs. Yeah, abs, right? Another C word. Confidence, right? And when you take confidence too far, what is that? Yes, Kanye West. And so one of the interesting things, I wish I was joking, but one of the interesting things in these brief moments, what I want you to do is I want you to have what I call a confident humility. Confident humility. That means you're confident in the experiences that have shaped who you are, but you're humble enough to say that I can learn something more. And for me, this foundational question started many years ago that simply asked this: what is your why? What is your why? Now, many of you at this moment got real deep on me like, ooh, what is the meaning of life? And yes, our why has big implications, right? There's this aspect of this macro and micro why. If I could call the macro the purpose, what drives you? What's your desire to get out of bed every single day besides your coffee, right? But what is this passionate pursuit? But the micro could be something as simple as, why did you choose your industry? Why did you decide, I want to work here, whether it's through transitions or specifically for your specific association? So what I want you to do, just for a brief moment, I want you to share with the person next to you your micro why you chose your industry. On your mark, get set, go, 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 go. Ten seconds. 10 seconds. Three, two, one. Everybody clap your hands. We'll stop right. Can you go down low? We'll stop there, right? Now, if I brought the mic to every single one of you, each of you would have something different to say. And even if you said the exact same thing, couldn't you mean it in a different way? See, because our whys are nuanced. And what we've realized in our research is that when you understand your why, it actually impacts more than we ever knew. It helps you to overcome more obstacles than those who don't know theirs, to have a greater sense of resilience and grit. And so when you know your why, it actually impacts what you do. When you know your why and what you do, it actually impacts when you do things. And all of the above ultimately impact how you do. See, let me share with you kind of how I came to this. Now, I grew up this little kid in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And one of the interesting things is that we grew up without a lot of money and grew up in the hood. And one of the things my mom used to do, she would go to the Salvation Army, get our clothes. She would go with, little sweater vest and bow ties. I swear she was trying to create a boys to men group. And one of the things is, I was this little kid from kindergarten to 8th grade, like, hey, how you doing? I'm Justin, haha, right? Kindergarten, horrible voice to have growing up in the hood, but that's a different story. Now, what ended up happening is I was doing well academically. Had a 3.8 GPA all the way up to the 8th grade. There was always one teacher that gave me a B+, and it was their fault. And I always realized that like there was something different. But I remember, I went from 8th grade, 3.8 GPA, to 9th grade, 1.9 GPA. And her name was Shanika. You see, y'all, I love Shanika. She was intelligent, she was gorgeous, she was, just had everything going on. Like, I love you, boo, I love you, right? But one of the things is that I started acting like somebody who I wasn't. And I started, dressing differently and hanging with different people. And I went from, hey, how you doing? I'm Justin, hi, to yo, what's up, son? And that's just not who I was. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're like, yeah, right, Justin, that sounds really good for the presentation. But that didn't really happen. I'm glad you challenged me. Kindergarten through 8th grade. 9th grade. All right. In West Philadelphia, born and raised, on the playground is where I spent most of my days, right? Now, you can see the difference, right? But I started acting like somebody I wasn't, and my mom made sure my grades improved. I won't tell you how that happened, but she did. And right around 11th grade year, I remember a question came over me because I was still acting like somebody who I wasn't. And the simple question was this. It's like, Justin, why are you spending so much of your time trying to impress people who can't even give you scholarship money? I was like, why are you spending so much of your time trying to impress people who can't even give you a summer job or an internship? And it hit me, y'all. I've been spending my why in all the wrong places. So I remember going back to school after winter break, 11th grade year, suit, shirt, tie, briefcase, Franklin planner, on the public bus, right? And I remember my friends would get on the bus like, is something wrong with Justin? Like, what happened, right? But I didn't care because my why began to shape me. And I went off to college, new suit, new shirt, new tie, skinny, the tie, not me. And I remember these two young ladies walked up to me like, excuse me, professor, do you mind sharing where class is? Like, well, no, I don't. Class is that way. Super corny, they never talked to me again, but that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is that my why began to shape what I begin to do. And my question for you is, how is your why shaping you? And your marriages? In your relationships, in your association? How is it shaping what you do, right? Because our why has a great impact. But it's not just about our why, it's also the importance of your now. And if I had to give now a synonym, I call it passion. So everybody repeat after me, say, passion. No, you gotta pop that P with it, like, passion. Passion. When you give passion, it's a concept I call being on 10, right? Now, if you could imagine this way, have you ever been somewhere and you've been dancing? Some of y'all are like, I've been watching people dance, right? There's usually two different types of dancers. There's one type of dancer when the music comes on, it's like, boom, 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 boom. Hey, they're not going to see me sweat, right? And this other type of dancer when the music comes on, it's like, woo, 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 woo. Like, hopefully that's not you, right? But this person, this person over here, they're so consumed and they're caring about what other people think and processing. But this person over here is giving it their all. They brought like 3 undershirts because they're going to sweat out every one. I mean, they came ready to give everything on their dance floor. And the question for us is, what is that same vibrance that we give to what we do? See, I know a lot of people who know their why, but aren't doing anything about it. And that's the impact of our now. So when you're on 10, you do a couple of things. One, I have this principle called the principle of the frog, step, seed, and smile. I want to go over one. The principle of the frog is simply this, that you do the hardest, most challenging thing first. Mark Twain said many years ago, if you eat a frog in the morning, everything else will go down easy. All right? So what are you doing that's killing your day first thing and maybe checking email when you could give 20 to 30 minutes to your frog? All right? And all this is wrapped up in my research. I found that there are 4 different types of people based upon the why and the now. The wanderer who knows nothing what they're doing. Call them the walking dead. The thinker who's waiting for the 8th day of the week. The misplaced who's doing a lot of things in the wrong places. And the pursuer who's passionately pursuing. So ultimately, what will you do? How will you challenge the boundaries of your why and now? I encourage you to get a little uncomfortable. Because, my friends, that's where real change happens. As we're going forward, I'd love to stay connected. This is my information. If you want 30 practical ways to achieve more in your why and your now, you just text Why Matters Now to 44222. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, but it gives you a little bit more than what I could give on stage. So last being, I want you to stand up one last time. One last time. With me, right? They're like, I didn't stand up for the first time. And there's only one thing left to do. And I want you to repeat after me as we celebrate on our way. I'm going to say something, and I want you to repeat. Celebrate good times. No. Well, one more time with passion and enthusiasm. Y'all ready? Celebrate good times. Thank you so much. I'm Justin Jones, folks. Have a good day, y'all.
Passion, a little bit, no, kinda, sorta, a little bit. Very, very, very passionate. That's Justin. Thank you. Justin's helping us figure out our why and get in touch with why our why matters now. And that brings me to our second speaker. Norm Wood is going to help explain his why and why his why matters now. Norm Wood is the founder and president of the New Norm Incorporated, a consulting and training group. The New Norm challenges people, companies, and communities to identify and apply best practices with inclusivity and sustainability. The resulting corporate behavior generates an exciting, high-performance, highly productive workplace where employees engage in purposeful roles while applying triple bottom line strategies. Norm's career highlights and all of his career highlights share an underlying theme, from hiring and training to managing departments to running multi-million-dollar organizations. All have come about from helping others identify their talents and their strengths. Please welcome Norm Wood.
If you're in a job you love, if you're in a job you don't love, or if you're not even in a job, this is for you. If you love everybody, or if you want to tell everybody where to go and what to kiss, this is for you. Act 2, Scene 7, from his play As You Like It, William Shakespeare said it best, all the world's a stage. Indeed, all the world is a stage, and this is not a dress rehearsal. The time is now. The stage is right where you are. The story is how you manage your circumstances today. The choices you make today will determine your circumstances tomorrow. I'm Norm Wood, founder of the New Norm Incorporated. As I reflect on a career spanning over 5 decades, I have a deep-seated feeling of peace, nothing to hide, nothing to fear, nothing to prove. But I do have something to share. Let me set the stage. Can I see? Okay, let me set the stage. Act 1. I'll give you stories to illustrate all of these. Act 1, always give it your best. Act 2, always learn the lesson and grow. And Act 3, you never know. You just never know. My hope is that you'll apply these to your lives to make a difference. That's your choice. What I want to do today is share these with you so that you can create a masterpiece. After all, this is about you, but first, a little bit about me. From experience, that's something you get when you're expecting something else. I've climbed the corporate ladder several times. The first time, it was up against the wrong wall. The next time resulted in perhaps the lowest point of my entire career. I was in an executive position with a high-growth, mid-sized company, about 1,500 employees. They called us the top team, the company president, executive VP, the corporate controller, and me as director of sales and marketing. I thoroughly enjoyed working with that team to grow that company from about $25 million to nearly $100 million in annual revenue. The company was privately held. The owners decided it was time to take it to the next level. They hired an executive to restructure, reorganize, and y'all probably know where this is going. It wasn't too long, he eliminated my position, but he offered me a position as a sales rep in the toughest sales area we had. Blue collar, heavy industrial, a very tough market. On Friday morning, I entered the building and was impressed by the aroma of freshly brewed coffee. I walked into my office across that plush carpet, observed for the last time those custom drapes and the indirect lighting, and sat down at that mahogany desk to clean it out. I was in the executive suite. Monday morning, my nostrils were assaulted by the smell of exhaust, and my feet pounded the cold, hard pavement as I was working the street, reporting to a man I had promoted. I gave it my best for about a year. I learned a lot. I performed better than anybody expected, including me. And then one day, I got a call from my headhunter. She asked, "You wouldn't consider a position in Detroit, would you?" As I stand before you today, I still can't believe I responded with, "Tell me about it." The interviews in Detroit were intense, but I was able to relax by looking out the window because I had never seen that much snow. I had never seen horizontal snow. Within a few days, a great offer came, and I accepted a position working in a market that everybody understands as blue collar, heavy industrial, a very tough market. You see, that previous valley provided me with the training I needed to enjoy the finest, most rewarding job I ever had. Now, what did I learn? I learned you cannot teach what you don't know, and you cannot lead where you won't go. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, learn the lesson and grow. You are in transition. We are in transition. It's all transition. Right now, you have the opportunity to find or create your ideal situation, living where you want to live, doing what you want to do with people you want to do it with. You are the star of the show. Brand yourself like a star. Clearly, concisely, and completely define and describe yourself. What are your strengths? Forget about your weaknesses. That's not what you're here for. What makes you different? What makes you special? Price yourself right. Incidentally, if you undervalue yourself, you may rest assured the market will not increase the price. Promote yourself in as many ways as you can think of. I recommend developing a strong network and a reputation for helping others. Now, while helping others is always a great idea, they tend to respond in kind. And if not, you've still had the pleasure of helping them. And you never know what may happen. For example, William and his wife couldn't find a hotel among the larger, finer hotels in Philadelphia that night due to a convention in town. They stopped in at a smaller hotel which was also full, but George, the manager, offered them his own suite for the night. William was very impressed with George, with his kindness, his generosity, and his customer focus. William and George became very good friends. In fact, they became business partners. As William Waldorf Astor, engaged George Bolt, as the founding proprietor of his new hotel, the Waldorf Astoria in New York City. You never know who is in the audience. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, in good times and in bad, take control of the situation and enjoy it for what it is. It's your opportunity to show them what you're made of. Face facts. Don't try to explain them away. Don't even dream about changing the past. Forget what has happened and focus on what you are going to make happen. Think big. If that doesn't work, think bigger. Always give it your best. Always learn the lesson and grow. Always be aware you never know who is in the audience. The lights are up. The curtain is raised, and you are on the stage. And this is not a dress rehearsal.
This is no dress rehearsal. This is live, this is now, and this is why your why matters now. Norm's offered a door prize, and we have a winner. Norm's door prize is a book and a bottle of champagne. The lucky winner needs to meet Norm outside after the showcase at his table to collect his prize. Her prize, and the winner is...
Oh, Wilson Herman. Is that her? No, that's not her. I need some help up here, somebody.
I can help you.
Can you read it?
I'll help you with that.
I don't have my glasses.
Wilma Herrera.
Okay,
Where's Wilma? All right.
Okay, hey, good. Thank you.
Please see Norm at his table outside after the showcase. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our third speaker is Tom Triumph. I've been part of PRiSM for since 2014, I believe, and a lot of us PRiSM members, I call us PRiSMers, remember Evan's pronunciation, it is PRiSM, not prison. I call us PRiSMers. Many of us PRiSMers are also members of the National Speakers Association, and the local chapter is North and South Carolina. They often have meetings in Charlotte. I've realized that there is a special kind of person who will meet at 5 a.m. to road trip to Charlotte. And there is an even more special person who will serve as the rendezvous point, who will offer his house as the rendezvous point for 10 people to meet up at 5 a.m. to drive to Charlotte. That special person is Tom Triumph. Tom is a speaker and consultant who helps companies grow by collaboratively helping them innovate their business and product development. He's helped large companies be nimble and small companies scale. He's been a participant in 2 global technology revolutions and has been part of some of remarkable success stories and some misfires. He's helped oversee the redesign and the fabrication of the largest composite hovercraft ever built in the U.S. He is the author of the book, Evolve or Die, Lessons in World-Class Innovation and Creativity. He lives in Chapel Hill. He is an ultra runner. He is jealous of Tom Hanks's longest run as Forrest Gump. Please give a warm welcome to Tom Triumph.
What is innovation? Well, set aside the notion that innovation is just about science and technology. Innovation is actually relevant to virtually every aspect of our lives, specifically your life. How you work, how you play, how you socialize, how you engage with your family, even how you parent. In fact, innovative thinking has been at the core of virtually every improvement throughout history. So, what is innovation? Innovation is looking at something you've seen countless times before and seeing something new. Something that, for whatever reason, you didn't see before. It could be the proverbial answer hiding in plain sight. The missing puzzle piece just waiting to be found. And sometimes it's found by the power of pure imagination alone, which is a uniquely human capability. As was the case when James Watson imagined a spiral staircase which led to the co-discovery of the structure of DNA. Innovation can be found by obtaining a new perspective, which at times can be revealing. Innovation is assembling different things in new ways to create something new. And one new combination can result in a 10x improvement or even more. Innovation is story, repeatedly presented to shape our thinking. Story provides the narrative to communicate and understand our world. Stories can be old, passed down from generation to generation, seemingly hardwired into our thinking, or stories can be new. We have to be vigilant about accuracy because so much of what we know is actually wrong. We've bought in and don't even know it yet. Innovators develop a new awareness of the stories they're told, and innovators tell their own. Innovation is discerning order from chaos, finding patterns, which gives us the knowledge to formulate chemicals, cure disease, control the dynamics of flight, and make sense of our world, of the seemingly random. Like these dots, which seem to be slowly rotating in a counterclockwise motion, but on further inspection we see they're actually just moving back and forth, each on their own straight line. In terms of the world where we live, author Clay Shirky says it's not information overload that's the problem, it's filter failure. And we're actually doing pretty good. In fact, we're living in the most abundant and the safest time to be alive. Threats to our survival have dramatically decreased throughout history. But nobody is immune from difficulties and disasters, and there's a great many people in this world still suffering. And the better we're able to separate signal from noise, the better we're able to prevent and prepare for problems and help others. Innovation requires courage. The artist Chuck Close could draw with a pencil with such precision and exactitude that a 10 by 9 foot pencil drawing of his is virtually indistinguishable from a photograph. And after suffering a debilitating stroke, which left him paralyzed and wheelchair bound and only able to move his hand just a few inches, it's courage that enabled Chuck Close to strap a paintbrush to his wrist and reinvent himself as a painter, painting small grid by small grid, and in the process reinvent large portraiture painting. Innovation is curiosity, and it stops when complacency begins. When the student stops learning, when the teacher knows enough, it stalls when the need to appear right or congruent with the past outweighs your confidence required to make a change. And innovation is disassembling and stripping bare what currently exists to reimagine something new, something better. It's what the architect Frank Gehry did when he looked at hundreds of years of building and construction and all the right angles and all the flat planes and the drawings, the two-dimensional drawings, and the result being that we live, all of us, basically in boxes. And Frank Gehry reimagined what a building could be. Certainly protection from the elements, something that provide utility for water, heat, electric, and septic. And he reimagined what a building could be. And he took unfettered inspiration from nature, from design, and even from the folds of a blanket that have comforted every child. The final quandary, innovation can be both very easy or very difficult. In 1964, a young Paul McCartney woke up one morning where he dreamt of a song fully formed in his head. He knew the entire melody. It was so familiar to him that he thought he might have heard it somewhere before. For the next 3 weeks, he played it and sang it for everyone he knew. Nobody had heard of the song. It was an original composition. And the song Yesterday went on to become the most recorded song in the history of music. Rolling Stone magazine called it the #1 pop song of all time. Came to him in a dream. And innovation can also be incredibly difficult, even when it seems like it's super easy, like it should be a slam dunk. Like when Bic introduced another disposable product, disposable underwear. Maybe people thought it'd leave a mark, or they'd get cut, or it'd burn their ass. But in any event, it didn't sell. So what is innovation? Well, innovation's been at the core of our existence since before recorded history. Innovation is actually, in fact, what makes us human. And just like the heart beating inside your chest 3.2 billion times if you live to be 80 years old, we remain virtually unaware that it's at work day in and day out sustaining us. And just like you can dramatically improve your cardiovascular capability, you can dramatically improve your ability to create and innovate. What's at stake? Certainly the ability to drive innovation and leapfrog your competition. Certainly the chance to create a culture, a creative culture that can transform your business. But most importantly, what's at stake is a better life and a better you. Thank you very much.
Don't leave yet, you've got a door prize, right? Can you imagine the conversations we have from 5 to 8 a.m. on the way to Charlotte? Tom is a great example of the speakers in PRiSM. Several of us speak about innovation. Several of us speak about marketing. Several of us speak about leadership and presentations. But we all have our own creative approaches, and we all share openly. Tom is sharing a door prize, and his door prize is 3 hours of business consulting. The lucky winner we're about to announce. Please meet Tom outside at his table after the showcase. Do you need some help reading this?
I think I can read it if you stand across the stage. Ricardo Hicks.
All right, Ricardo. Please see Tom after the showcase.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom's mind just amazes me. The way that he thinks and the way that he communicates is impressive. And I learn from him every conversation. And that's true with all PRiSMers. We all learn from each other. And I'm going to introduce the next person you will learn from is a snow globe shaker. He's a friend of mine. His name is Jeff Nischwitz. He wants to know, do you ever wonder where the leaders have gone? Do you have what it takes to shake things up and to create new outcomes? And are you ready to step into the leadership gap? Well, Jeff's going to prepare you to do just that. Jeff is known professionally for his challenging questions and his unique perspectives. And he's known personally for his big heart and his love for his two sons, Eric and Kyle, and travel adventures, especially with his dad, Ron. Get ready to shake. Prepare yourself to learn from the man known as the leadership shifter and the snow globe shaker. Get ready to shake, shift, and shine, and join me in welcoming Jeff Nischwitz.
So I know you all have the same question. What's the deal with the snow globe? You heard it and said, what's the deal? So here's the reason for the snow globe. I have discovered that the snow globe is one of the most powerful metaphors for leadership. Because we think about snow globes, there's a lot of differences with snow globes, a lot of variety, but there's two things that all snow globes have in common. Number one is something on the inside is a pretty, peaceful, sometimes idyllic scene. Perhaps it's a cityscape or a landmark, a farmscape, a holiday scene. Oddly enough, a beach scene. Beach and snow doesn't make sense, but some people love it. Or a beautiful object like these butterflies. But here's the question. There's two things that all snow globes have in common. And the first is, what is the secret to the magic of a snow globe? What is it? When does the magic happen? Only when you shake it. Only when you shake it does the magic happen. And the same thing is true about you and your leadership. Because unless you are willing to shake things up, nothing will change. Unless you are willing to be courageous and bold in your leadership to step in and take the risk of shaking it up, nothing will ever change. So we know that about snow globes and about leadership. And what else do we know about snow globes that happens quickly after we stop shaking? It settles. Let me say that word again. It quickly settles and goes back to the way it was before. Now the flakes may not be in the same place, but nothing on the inside has changed. Nothing in the picture has changed unless we continue to shake. And when we shake, we start making the shifts. The shifts in thinking, the shifts in perspective, absolutely the shift in our actions, so that when it starts to change and float and go back, it can never go back to the way it was before, because we courageously shook it and we took action in the shaking to shift the outcome. So that's what we know about snow globes. I'm going to just hold it. So what I share with you today are 3 shifts. I'm going to call them factors today, but 3 shifts you can make as a leader to assure that things don't go back to the way they were. I call them the A factor, the P factor, and the T factor. Now, the A factor is one that's all about building trust. And as leaders, our goal is to build followership, not someone who will follow our orders, but will follow the person, because that's what leadership is about. You want someone who will follow you as a leader. They will be in. We talk about engagement. You want people who are engaged. If you don't have engagement, you haven't given them something or someone to engage with. So the A factor is about authenticity, because authenticity feeds trust. And trust is essential to creating followership and influence, and all of those lead to the impact we all want to create. You've heard a lot this morning about authenticity. Justin talked about being who you really are, not pretending to be someone else. Are you willing to be who you are? Are you willing to be that thing that scares most of us, to be vulnerable? Are you willing to turn from the person who's telling one all the time what to do, instead be the one that asks questions? Here's the big one. Are you willing to say, I don't know the answers, I need your help? You expect your people to ask for help, but are you asking for help? Are you being authentic? Are you walking your talk? So what is your authenticity factor? The next one is the P factor, and the P factor is perhaps the most difficult factor to put into place in your leadership and in your life. And the reason is our culture is designed to defeat you, because the P factor is about presence. And every single thing in our culture is designed to keep you from being present. We have technology, we have smartphones, we have emails, we have phone calls, we have messages. Any of you have a to-do list? Any of you have Post-it notes all over your office? And we're in this insatiable search to be busier than the person next to you. Somehow we decided that being busy is the win. And it's not. The win is through people. The win is through impact. And we're going through our lives so fast, we don't make time to be present. But it is truly a gift to be present with another human being. Whether it's a team member or a family member or a relationship person in your life. Because here is the gift of presence. Only when you are present does that person experience the following. They feel heard. They feel seen. They feel cared about. And they feel valued. That's all. And every time you're present, that gift happens. You don't have to do anything else but be present to deliver that gift. How would your relationships change if you were present? How would your communication change in your team and your association? How would the world change if we could just find space to be present with other human beings and give them this incredible gift? So what is your presence factor? And the third one is an odd one. I call it the T factor. And here's why it's odd. The first two, authenticity and presence, are multipliers. They feed off of each other. They're all designed to enhance your followership, your influence, to build trust, to accelerate your impact. But the T factor actually takes you the other way. The T factor is the one that takes you away from your mission, away from your why, away from your impact. It's your brake, and in many cases, it's your tether. It's your tolerance factor. This is about what are you tolerating? Who are you tolerating? What behavior are you tolerating? What behavior or actions are you allowing to be acceptable? In what ways are you tolerating things so the world looks at you and says, he or she said this, but they're tolerating this? And what you tolerate is what defines you. The other things go away when we look at what you tolerate. So think about this. Reality. Your leadership, your relationships, and your impact are not defined by what you say or by what you do. They're defined by what you tolerate. So what are you tolerating? And what is your tolerance factor? So welcome to Snow Globe Leadership. It's about shaking things up, and it's about making those shifts through the shaking to really change things. Are you willing to be authentic? Are you willing to care enough to commit to being present? And are you willing to change your tolerance factor? My hope is that every one of you leaves here today ready to shake things up. Thank you.
Ready to shake it up? Yeah. Before we really shake it up, Jeff's offered a door prize as well, and I've learned something. I'm going to read the lucky winner. Not saying anything about whether you can see or not.
I was ready to shine.
You can shine at your table when Jeff's door prize is a pair of books, and the lucky winner is Christine Johnson from CCI. Woo! Congratulations. Please see Jeff at his table outside after the showcase. You're welcome. All right, you're really ready to shake things up? I am sensing that we need to really shake things up right now. Let's shake.
Hey! All right, my name is Paul. Everyone say hello, Paul. Hello. This is my partner, Don. Say hello, Don. Hello. What's your name?
I got it.
All right. Everyone say hello. All right. Well, we're here today to shake things up. Literally, we're going to get you up and moving, a little energizer break halfway through. But before we do, I just want to say if you have something in your hands, you have your coffee, you have your note-taking, you can put that aside and put it under your seats right now. Also, you might want to also pick up a flop ball. On your seats, you'll find you have a little flat beanbag. That is our gift to you. Say thank you. Ah, come on. Now, this is a flop ball. What we do with the flop ball is we bounce it on the back of your hands. So put it on the back of your hands, just bounce it right there, just nice and easy. Whoa. Now, we're not going to be throwing and catching this, so if you have any lingering middle school gym class trauma, you can let that go. because we're going to throw and catch this using the back of our hand. We're changing things up a little bit. So to warm up, you put it on the back of your hand, you kind of throw it up without letting go. You just kind of follow through on a pretend throw, and then you absorb the energy on a catch. So we practice the throw and catch without ever letting go. Perfectly safe. If you have a small hand, you can spread out your fingers. If you have really small hands, you can put your hands together, make a little fin or a little paddle. Very nice. Now, what we're going to do in a moment is we're going to get up and we're going to move. We're just going to stretch our fingers, stretch our legs, and we're going to throw and catch the flop ball. Now, if you want to just throw and catch without letting go, you're welcome to. But if you want to try to challenge yourself, you can try doing a flat where it doesn't flip, or you can do a back flip or a front flip, an out flip or an in flip. You can go from hand to hand. Now, if you want to combine this with deep knee bends, you are welcome. We won't judge. In fact, we'll be jealous.
In fact, the more you bend and relax, the easier it's going to be to catch.
Yeah. If you want to pass to someone right next to you, go ahead and do that as well. Let's all take a moment, stand up, and get throwing. Throw and catch. If you drop it, that's okay. There's no right or wrong way.
Whee!
The higher you go, the slower the flips will be. The lower you go, the faster it flips. Flats are especially hard. You'll find they'll want to flip on their own. So if you can get 6 inches or a foot above your head, you're doing incredible. All right. All right, give yourselves a round of applause. Give someone nearby a high five and have yourself a seat.
That was super fast, but you guys did great. Take a moment right now and just check in with yourself. How's your body feeling? How are you feeling? How has maybe your energy shifted? And we'll be available after to show you some more flop ball tricks, as well as tell you about how we connect this experience to a variety of themes in our interactive keynotes, our breakout sessions, and our event energizers like that. Thank you.
Who knew you were going to come here and flop? Where else can you safely learn how to flop? Paul and Dawn, thank you. Thank you. Feeling energized? Re-energized? Ready for more? Well, I want you to know that our next speaker is Meredith Oliver, and she has 17 years experience helping businesses grow with digital marketing. She is the Chief Digital Marketing Strategist for Meredith Communications, a marketing agency right here in Raleigh. Meredith holds a master's degree in communications technology and is the author of 3 books, Click Power, Fantastic Marketing, and Fantastic Selling. She's also a CSP, a Certified Speaking Professional, which is the highest designation conferred by the National Speakers Association. It means she really knows her stuff. What you might not know about Meredith are 2 things. 1, she is an avid, and I mean avid, shoe collector. Her shoes have their own Instagram account. You can follow her shoes at Meredith's Shoes 22. And the other thing is, everyone says that she looks like Flo, the Progressive Insurance girl, but I don't see it. Tell me if you do. Welcome, Meredith Oliver.
Yeah, everywhere I go, they're like, hey, you know who you look like? Uh-huh. Yeah, it's awful. Yeah, I got up at 5 o'clock this morning, put all this effort into my appearance, and they're like, you look like Flo, the Progressive girl. Yay, no. All kidding aside, Flo has legions and legions of fans, and that's what we're going to explore in the next few minutes. How to grow your business, grow your association by doubling down on the fans you already have. You see, you don't need to create fans, you don't need to grow fans. You need to be super fans of the fans you already have. Because when they know that you care about them, they start doing the selling and marketing for you. And that is called the fan factor. Now, in order to teach you about becoming a super fan, I need to introduce you to my husband, Alan Oliver. Alan and I have been married 20 blissful years. Yeah, that usually gets a laugh from those of you that are married. There's something Alan failed to tell me when he proposed to me 20 years ago, and that was that he planned to wear orange Miami Hurricane logo licensed apparel every single day for 20 years. There are a couple of folks in this audience that know Alan, and they will testify that this is 100% true. You see, Alan Oliver is a super fan of the Miami Hurricanes and really of sports in general. 24/7, 365, there is football, basketball, soccer, golf, NASCAR, anything sports on at our house all of the time. He once stayed up all night long to watch curling, the riveting sport of curling, in the Winter Olympics, because it aired in the middle of the night live, and the man stayed up to watch it. That is what we're working with. And when I was in Minnesota last week, I did not make fun of curling, right? Instead, I said the riveting sport of cornhole. And they all went, oh, ha, 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 but we can't do that in Carolina, now can we? Yeah, Alan is a super fan. One morning, I'm sitting across the breakfast table, and I think to myself, why? No, not why did I marry him? Why do sports fans behave the way they behave? I mean, look at these two, right? These are probably regular guys during the week, right? And on the weekend, what team is this? The Oakland Raiders. They dress up like this, and they sit in a part of the stadium called the Black Hole. It's XXX rated. Watch out. I mean, during the week, this is your CPA, this is your gynecologist, right? And on the weekends, these two behave like this. Why? As it turns out, psychologists have long studied uber sports fans, and there's 5 common traits that we can take and apply to your business. You can apply this to the marketing and how you do your marketing. You can apply it to your customer experience. You can apply it to your sales process, to your operations, to your leadership team. If you want to become fans of your fans, super fans, then you've got to learn to think like a super fan himself or herself. And these are the 5. So we'll take one this morning, identity. Identity is the we. Identity is when sports fans say, we won the game. No, we did not play in the game. We need to fire the coach. No, we are not in management, right? You ask an uber sports fan, and you don't have to be a sports fan to get this. You could be a Harley Davidson fan. You could be a wine fan. Where are my wine fans? Hello, you alcoholics, you, right? You could be a comic book, Game of Thrones. I don't care what you're into, but any super fan, you get it. It's the we. I recently experienced the we firsthand myself. I am a super fan of Rustic Cuff. Rustic Cuff is a jewelry company started by a female entrepreneur out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, out of her house. It went viral through Oprah, and she is a national brand. I am a fangirl of Rustic Cuff. I wear one every time I speak because it makes me feel like Wonder Woman, right? I happened upon one of their retail stores. My relationship with Rustic Cuff had all been digital, but I've been wearing one for years. I own about 5 already. I happened in a retail store, stopped in. I'm standing there talking to the manager, gushing over how I love these, how I wear these. This is my favorite thing. I picked this very one out, handed over the cash for it. The next thing I know, the money slides back across the counter with the receipt that says $0. She looks at me and says, you know, our founder, Jill Donovan, would want you to have that cuff. We right? That's what I heard, we. In fact, she said, that very cuff, well, that's the one Oprah wore on the cover of Oprah magazine, and it's Jill's favorite cuff. She whips out Oprah magazine, and there it is on the front cover on Oprah. I am now a we with Oprah and the founder of Rustic Cuff. Bam. There are so many things she could have done that day to break the we. I already had a super fan relationship with this brand, and I'd never met one single person with the brand. In your association, are you doing things to break the we, the sense of identity, the sense of shared connection? Because here you are, an association all about growing. We serve our members. We love our members. It's all about you. And then we won't register you because you didn't fill out the form for the event. Or your sponsor table's in the wrong place and not where we said we would put it. It breaks the we. She could have been on her phone, all distracted, not present, as Jeff mentioned. Would have broken the we. It wasn't that she gave it to me for free. It was that she acknowledged and validated me while I gushed. I didn't expect her to give me a $125 rustic cuff for free. All I needed her to do was listen and go, that's incredible. We're so glad you like it. But to put the cherry on the top, she created a we with Jill Donovan, the founder and entrepreneur that I admire, that took her business, billion-dollar business, from her home. And, hello, Oprah Winfrey. So I'll ask you and want you to think about, are you growing your association, your business, your brand by being super fans of your fans? Because when you create the we, the identity, the shared personal connection between you and them, well, that's just simply fantastic.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I am a super fan of Meredith Oliver because her ideas, her visuals, her delivery, and her content, her expertise is amazing. Meredith, I am a super fan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's sort of what PRiSM is. We are all fans of each other, and we are growing to be super fans of each other, because that's what happens when we naturally, openly all share our secret sauce. And so it's not secret anymore. That's one of the things I really love about PRiSM. I also am excited to introduce you to Calvin Stovall. Calvin is the Chief Experience Officer of Iconic Presentations. He has nearly 30 years of experience in hospitality and nonprofit service industries. During his career as the Vice President of Brand Marketing at Hilton Worldwide, he was responsible for marketing and the public relations efforts for more than 150 Homewood Suites hotels. While under his leadership, the Homewood Suites brand was recognized 4 times by J.D. Power and Associates. Today, he leverages his expertise, his life experiences as a business leader, along with universal language of music, to engage and connect with audiences nationwide. Calvin lives in Charlotte with his wife Taisha and his 2 wild and crazy sons, Caden and Carson. Please help me welcome Calvin Stovall.
All right, where are my music fans? Any music fans in the house? All right, wonderful. You know what? I love music. I grew up with a lot of music. My family loved music, and when I say we love music, we loved music. Okay? I mean, it was common for me to wake up on Saturday mornings with Al Green or Diana Ross and the Supremes and Smokey Robinson blaring out of the hi-fi in our living room. But you know what? Growing up around music like that all the time, it gave me a true appreciation for music as well as the artists themselves. But just like in business, you know, all competitors aren't created equal. Some artists have learned how to keep their fans engaged for decades, while some have faltered, staggered, or have disappeared altogether. But let me ask you a question. What is it about the music we love that makes us want to hear it over and over again? how does that song get stuck in your head? You know that song when you're driving around for the first time and you hear it, you're like, I don't like that song. Then maybe a couple of weeks go by and you hear it again, you're like, the song kind of growing on me. Then maybe about a month later, you in the club and it comes on, you're like, girl, that's my song right there. But you know, how does that happen? Because it's the repetition. It's the repetition that you hear it over and over again. Repetition is integral to music as the notes themselves. You know, there was an author named Derek Thompson. He actually wrote a book called Hitmakers, and he said repetition is the God particle of music. And I also think repetition is important when growing a successful business. How do you keep your brand at the top of their mind? How do you keep your brand song looping in their heads over and over again so that they buy from you over and over again? See, the customer experience actually is the main stage attraction to solidifying relationships with your customers. You know, brand is experience and experience is brand. And you can always make sure that you have what you need to make sure you deliver a wonderful experience for your customers. You know what? That experience comes when you make that emotional connection. Right? When you build your brand on that emotional connection, that's how you can future-proof your brand. You got to make sure that you let your customers know that their lives are better off by doing business with you and that they should continue to do business with you despite where technology takes us. Let me tell you something. We're in a competitive environment today, and you have to take care of your customers. I'm talking about you got to put some soul into everything you do. We're in a very disruptive market today. And let me tell you, my friends, mediocrity and just doing what's necessary, it's not going to get you the win. Especially in this social media market where your customers have a megaphone and they could tell the world how you either improved or how you ruined their lives. Now, some of you probably sitting out there in the audience right now, you're probably like, Calvin, I hear you, brother, but we do surveys all the time and our customers are satisfied. They always tell us they're satisfied. But let me tell you, in this experience economy today, satisfaction just means you met my basic needs. Satisfaction is not going to get you the win that you're looking for. You know, there was research done that 80% of customers that actually switched suppliers said that they were satisfied with the previous one. So satisfaction is just the price of entry. It's not going to be a win. The only true customer measure that correlates with improved business results is advocacy, or what I like to call fandom. Everybody say fandom. There's immense power in delivering a positive customer experience. How many of you are Chick-fil-A fans in this room today? Always got Chick-fil-A fans, right? They're always there. Did you know that KFC is getting killed by a brand half its size? Chick-fil-A sells 3 times as much product as KFC with half the locations, and they're closed on Sunday. How does that happen? How does that happen? Well, we all know that Chick-fil-A's success is, first of all, you know they sell a great product, right? But it's the customer service as well. And this made them the top of the chicken chain for a very long time. And if you ask them, why are they so successful? You kind of can't really put your finger on it. I think it's the lemonade. That lemonade is something else, ain't it? And I think they put something in there because those kids, the way they do their service, it's amazing. But really, I think seriously, they really take time to train their employees. But I really think what they've done so successfully, ladies and gentlemen, is that they have a very intent focus on taking care of the customer at every single interaction, or what I like to call moment of impact. Everybody say moment of impact. Because that's where the magic happens. It's at that moment of impact. I'll give you an example. My wife loves Chick-fil-A, loves their chicken biscuits. She stops at a Chick-fil-A one morning, goes through the drive-through window, realizes she forgot her purse. Okay, she's reaching in the car, trying to find some change. Young lady in the window sticks her head out with the bag in her hand and says, "Ma'am, that's quite all right. I've had days like that myself too. Why don't you just take the food with you and bring the money back the next time you're in the neighborhood?" What? That don't happen at McDonald's. You just be 1/4 short on your Big Mac meal and see if you leave with that food. You're not going to leave with the food, right? But let me tell you something. What did that do to her? She became a true advocate for Chick-fil-A. So when you talk to her about Chick-fil-A, she's not going to talk about the chicken sandwich. She's going to talk about the experience when she left her purse. Now, that's a beautiful story, isn't it? But there's a dark side. Guess why I got to go eat lunch every time I go with her? I'm growing feathers, y'all. Somebody help me. But really, why would an organization empower an employee to do something like that? Because it's all about customer retention and building a loyal fan base. Retention is the new acquisition. It's all about retention. Now, I'm not saying acquiring new customers isn't important, because it is. But we all know that it costs more money to acquire a new customer than it is to retain an existing one. You know, there was a great soul artist, singer. His name was Johnny Taylor. He had a song called It's Cheaper to Keep Her. I want to adopt that philosophy. I want you to do too. He said we're going to change it. We're going to say it's cheaper to keep her and him. Okay? So basically what I want to say to you is this. Satisfied customers leave. Raving fans will stay. Your role as a leader in your organization, ladies and gentlemen, is to make sure that you are creating a raving fan culture inside as well as outside of your organization. I believe there's many ways that you can empower, but when you're in the people business, I think it's quite simple. It's a very simple formula. Serve others, love what you do, and work and live with passion, and just let the music play. Thank you for your time this morning.
Does he love what he does? I'm ready for the music, and I want soul. One of the things I love about what Calvin says is that he followed Meredith. Both of them talk about marketing and fans and taking care of customers or clients, building and keeping those relationships. These are great examples of how speakers at PRiSM come together and help each other and learn from each other. It's what we do, and we do it naturally. I'm ready to welcome our 7th speaker. His name is Jim Jubileer. He is a public speaker and a futurist. He's also a Gazelle's business coach, where he applies scaling up framework to create breakthrough results for growing organizations. He's an active member of Abundance 360, which is a 25-year program to apply exponential thinking to solve the world's most pressing problems. Please welcome my friend, Jim Jubileer.
"500 seconds of interesting and useful information." Sound like a good use of time? So I used to be depressed about the state of the world. I was unproductive and I was unhappy, like some of you might be right now. I decided to do something about it. What I discovered is the future is brighter than it appears. I'm achieving more than I ever thought possible, and so can you. Now I say the future is brighter than it appears, but some of you are saying, are you nuts? I actually have this conversation at home. So if things are going so good, why might I feel so bad? As humans, we're hardwired to fear. Our psychology and our biology evolved for self-preservation. As a result, bad news sticks with us 5 times more often than good news does. Right, Sharon? News, entertainment, and politics use this negativity bias to capture our attention, our time, and our money. The sensational always outsells the factual. The New York Times uses the word crisis 30 times per day. Half of the top-rated shows on TV are crime dramas that drastically overstate the rate of murder. And just this morning, on my drive here, They didn't talk about prime time, they actually talked about crime time, which are the rise of crime-only TV networks. That's what we're getting indulged with. It turns out that progress also makes us feel bad. Progress hides its tracks. After we have a breakthrough, we take it for granted, and we go back to focusing on what could go wrong rather than what could go right. And we lose sight of all the progress that's occurred. Ironically, the more progress there is, the worse we feel. So what actually is the state of the world today? Now is the best time in human history to be alive. In the past 100 years, our income worldwide has tripled. Our longevity has doubled. More importantly, the gap between the least healthy and the most healthy countries in the world is smaller than it's ever been. But you're not going to hear that on the news. Progress enables freedom and prosperity. 3 billion people are going online, joining the internet in the next few years. And when they do, they become literate, they become healthy, and they escape poverty. More people have escaped extreme poverty in this century than in the history of humanity up until this century. And these trends towards progress are not slowing down, they're increasing. Death in much of human history has come suddenly and painfully, usually through infections or violence. But now, infectious diseases have been mostly eradicated. The top causes of death today are treatable, and violence is not even in the top 10 causes of mortality. So what's next? Would you like to hear my guaranteed to be right forecast of the future? Anybody interested? Guaranteed to be right. Change is coming. Faster than you think. There will be winners and losers. Here's the important one now. You will hear more about the losers than the winners. Developing an exponential mindset means focusing on what's in your control and letting go of the rest. As the pace of change increases, you can thrive by adopting these principles I'm going to walk you through. Sound reasonable? Maybe 200 seconds left, roughly. We tend to overestimate what we can do in the short term. The baby in the bathwater, the New Year's resolutions, the gym memberships that go unused. But we underestimate what we can do in the long term. When I discovered this principle, I became bolder and more confident to pursue my dreams. That's why I'm here speaking to you today. So let's talk about exponential mindset. If I take 30 linear steps, I will have gone 30 feet. Exponential means to double with each step. So the cadence is 1, 2, 4, 8. Everybody with me? If I take 30 exponential steps, I will have gone 1 billion feet. That's what exponential means. So we see that exponential change is everywhere. It's in technology, it's in your industry, it's in society at large. For instance, I just purchased a fully self-driving car. It drove me here this morning. In my keynotes and workshops, I talk about the benefits and the challenges of the autonomous revolution. And I have a magazine outside at the table you can get a copy of. But how cool is that? It's available today. Let's talk about mindset. A person with a fixed mindset believes talent is fixed, so intelligence is more important than effort. A person with a growth mindset believes abilities can be developed through hard work. A fixed mindset focuses on proving. A growth mindset focuses on improving. As a business coach, I help companies go from good to great. Exponential mindset isn't just for individuals, it's for organizations. Most organizations just take silly, wild-ass guesses about their future and their strategy. Successful organizations develop 3-year, highly achievable goals. We call that the 3HAG. They then have meeting rhythms that cascade vision and action down through the organization to build positive energy that leads to breakthrough results. That's how organizations achieve more than they ever thought possible through exponential mindset. But remember, news and politics is not going to tell you the whole story. They're going to distort the truth. In reality, the future is brighter than it appears. You, your organizations, your members' organizations can do more than they ever thought possible by applying exponential mindset. I'm Jim Jubileer, and I'm happy to have spent the last 500 seconds with you.
Don't leave yet, because you're a door prize, right?
The card.
You can read the card.
I can.
He promises he can read the card. Jim's door prize is, tell him about the door prize.
I'm doing a half-day workshop on scaling up in February at RTP, and the winner can bring their leadership team to the workshop, and if for some reason it doesn't fit for you, you're welcome to gift it to someone else.
And the winner is?
The winner is Frida Lynn. I have seen Frida. Tell me where Frida is.
Right here.
Great, and I'll be at the table.
Yes, please see Jim at his table to collect your door prize. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Exponential. 1 billion steps. Can you imagine 1 billion steps? I can't imagine 1 billion anything. But I love Jim's concept of exponential growth and an exponential mindset. And I think that really describes PRiSM. There are no words. There's one word to describe our last speaker. Actually, there are lots of words, but I'm going to choose 2 to highlight. What color is this? Pink and freak. Now, I am not calling him a freak. He is a self-described freak. Dave Rendell is our pink freak. During the last 15 years, he's spoken to audiences on every single inhabited continent. His clients include the US Air Force, the Australian government, and Fortune 50 companies like AT&T, Microsoft, United Health Group, and Fannie Mae. Before he became a speaker, he was a leadership professor, stand-up comedian, and a nonprofit executive. In between presentations, Dave competes in ultramarathons and Ironman triathlons. There are S's on all of those. Ultramarathons, triathlons. Dave has a doctorate of management degree in organizational leadership as well as a graduate degree in psychology. He is the author of 4 books, The 4 Factors of Effective Leadership, The Freak Factor for Kids, and Pink Goldfish. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the man who rocks the pink, Dave Rendell.
The subtitle of Pink Goldfish is Defy Ordinary, Exploit Imperfection, and Captivate Customers. Now, why would you defy ordinary, right? How many of you have ever heard that it's important to differentiate your business, right? We all know this. I'm not going to talk to you about why you need to differentiate today. We've all been told that differentiation is crucial. We all know this, but unfortunately, it's very rare. In her book, Different, Young Mi Moon says that the number of companies who are truly able to achieve competitive separation is depressingly small. We all know that we should but we struggle to do it. We need to defy ordinary, but we need better strategies for doing it, and that takes us to the next part. Defy ordinary, exploit imperfection. Now, why would you exploit imperfection? Aren't we supposed to hide imperfection? Aren't we supposed to eliminate imperfection? Aren't we supposed to fix imperfection? Well, let's get into that. In the 15th century, there was a Japanese shogun, and his name was Ashikaga Yoshimasa. And he had a tea bowl. It was his favorite tea bowl. He loved that tea bowl. And unfortunately, one day that tea bowl broke. And he was devastated, and so instead of getting a new one, he wanted it to be fixed, and he asked for it to be repaired, but he was unsatisfied with the repair. And he gave the craftsman different instructions the second time around. He said, I want it when I get it back, I want to see that it's been broken. I want to see that it's been damaged and it's been repaired. I don't want to hide the imperfection. I want to illuminate the imperfection. And what the craftsman created became the Japanese concept of Kintsugi. You take gold and you take lacquer and you highlight the cracks, you highlight the damage, you make it clear that it has been broken. It was so successful, Kintsugi became so popular that people didn't wait for things to break accidentally. They started breaking things on purpose. They wanted Kintsugi. And that's the overall idea of pink goldfish. We want to exploit imperfection. We want to illuminate imperfection. So let's walk you through 4 of the 7 parts of creating a pink goldfish, and the first one is flaunting. Flaunting is a simple word. It means to parade without shame. It means to be unapologetic about who you are and what you do. A great example of flaunting is a Canadian cough syrup company called Buckley's. Buckley's has a cough syrup that tastes terrible, right? And if your cough syrup tasted terrible and your customers gave you feedback about how terrible it was, you would try to create a better flavor. You'd try to create a cherry flavor. You'd try to create a lighter version, but that's not what they did. They created a set of commercials with fake taste tests, and they compared their cough syrup to trash bag leakage, right? People would try a cup of trash bag leakage, and then they would try a cup of Buckley's, and in the commercial, they would prefer the trash bag leakage, right? They would compare Buckley's to sweaty gym sock sweat, right? And people would prefer the sweaty gym sock sweat to the Buckley's, right? They didn't try to hide it. They exploited it. They flaunted it. They bragged about something that everyone thought was bad. One of their slogans is that people swear by it and at it, right? It tastes awful because it works, right? It tastes awful and it works, right? But really what they're saying is it tastes awful because it works. It works because it tastes awful. If you really want to fix your cold, you're willing to endure some pain in order to do that. That's flaunting. The next step is lopsiding. It's instead of trying to be well-balanced and well-rounded, instead of trying to have something for everybody, you deliberately go farther in the direction that everyone else is afraid to go. 10 years ago, Hardee's was going out of business. They were struggling. They couldn't differentiate themselves. And they were shutting down stores. They were going out of business. They were having a very difficult time. And around the same time, the documentary Super Size Me came out, and Morgan Spurlock ate 3 meals a day at McDonald's every single day for 30 days, and it turns out that's not good for you. And we didn't know that previously, and so we learned that fast food wasn't good for you, and so the fast food companies, especially McDonald's, started scrambling to provide healthy options: salad, fruit, yogurt, and water. And the normal thing to do would have been for Hardee's to follow that trend and to try to win by offering more healthy options. But instead of doing that, instead of being well-balanced and well-rounded, they tried lopsiding, and they created the All-American Thick Burger. This is 2/3 pound of meat with an entire hot dog on top. The chips are included, so you don't have to waste those calories picking them up one by one. This is more calories than you need for about a month and a half, right? But they didn't stop there. Their newest creation is the Apocalypse Burrito and Biscuits. It's the Apocalypse because it has the bacon, ham, and sausage in the same sandwich. So one of their slogans is "Eat like you mean it." They're not trying to be well-balanced and well-rounded. They're deliberately lopsided. And remember McDonald's? They started offering fruit and salad and water and yogurt. And after 10 years, they realized no one was buying it. And McDonald's, after becoming well-balanced and well-rounded, is becoming lopsided again. They're taking those items off the menu because nobody goes to McDonald's to eat healthy. The next one is antagonizing. This is my favorite. Alamo Drafthouse has a very strict policy: no talking and no texting. And if you talk or text, they actually kick you out. And this is a voicemail message from somebody who was kicked out of the Alamo Drafthouse. She said, yeah, I was wondering if you guys actually enjoy treating your customers like crap, because that's how I felt when I went to the Alamo Drafthouse, okay? You know, what I didn't know is I wasn't supposed to text in your little theater. It was too dark in that place to even find my seat, all right? I was using my phone as a flashlight to get my seat. So excuse me for using my phone in the USA Magnited States of America, where you're free to text in a theater. I was not aware that you couldn't text in the theater, all right? I've texted in all the other theaters in Austin. She's got all of them, right? And they never gave a crap about what I was doing in the theater, all right? And it was on silent. I wasn't bothering anybody. You guys were obviously being jerks to me, and I'm sure that's what you do. You know, to rip people off, you take my money, you know? So I'll never be coming back to your Alamo Drafthouse or whatever. I'm going to tell everyone how bad you are. I'm pretty sure you guys are being crappy to me on purpose. So thank you for making me feel like a customer. Thank you for taking my money. And you know what they said? They said, you're welcome. Thanks for not coming back to the Alamo, texter. All right. Here's what the founder, Tim League, said. He said, we wanted to take a hard stand and say that those people are not welcome at the Alamo Drafthouse. So we just get rid of those people to make it a better place for the rest of the movie-going public, right? That's flaunting, right? You can flaunt, you can lopside, you can antagonize, and antagonize isn't about customer satisfaction. It's not about customer evangelists. It's not about customer loyalty. It's about seeing that some people are the wrong people, and just like you want to be pulling some people close, you want to be pushing other people away. Because one thing she said is, I'm going to tell everyone how terrible you are as a theater, and I want you to think about that for a second. When she tells some people how terrible the theater is, what is it actually going to do? It's going to cause them to want to go there. Oh, people like you aren't at the Alamo Drafthouse. Perfect. I would love to see a movie there. We all know that angry customers tell more people than happy customers. And what if your angry customers were actually bringing customers to you? Pink Goldfish is about defying ordinary, finding a way to differentiate by exploiting imperfection, illuminating imperfection, intentional, unapologetic imperfection. That's how you create a pink goldfish. Thank you very much.
Flaunt your imperfections. Exponentially. I could go on and try to connect all 8 of the speakers you heard this morning. These are a beautiful example of what this group of about 75 members, 75 speakers who speak about all different topics, this is what we do. And I want to thank and bring up the man who made this all happen. He saw a need as a fellow speaker, wanted to find out what other speakers do. Being a speaker can be kind of a lonely world because you're trying to find engagements. You want your voice out there, but you kind of go it alone. And so Stan Phelps created PRiSM as a way for all of us speakers in our own individual worlds to come together and to become a we. And we aim to serve the Triangle and North Carolina. I want to welcome to the stage Stan Phelps.
Couple short things before we get you out of here because the trade show is about to start downstairs. We've run out of time, unfortunately. But here's the deal. I want you, really quickly, I want to acknowledge some of the PRiSM partners that we've had today that have made this possible. Alpha Graphics of Cary and North Raleigh, your local studio, and attended events. And I also want you to join me and thank all of our speakers and also Rich and the DMA NC for making this possible. Thank you. At 2:30 today, we're going to meet next door in 306C. There is a panel of speakers of which myself, Evan, and Meredith are going to be part of. We're going to share insights how to work with speakers and get the best return on your investment. Both of these seminars have been filed for CAE and CMP CAE credit, so we look forward to seeing you all then. If you checked in this morning and you got a black badge, just a quick reminder, you have a lunch voucher that goes along with that. Lunch will be open during the show at the back of the exhibits, and so feel free, you can grab lunch anytime by turning in your voucher at the concession. Also, attendees received a ballot to vote for the best booth at the trade show. Please mark your choice on the ballot, and you can deposit those in the center court by 1 o'clock if you can. The winners will be announced at 1:50. Our Fuel Young Professionals at AENC will also be in center court. They're collecting donations for the Backpack for Buddies program. Many booths will be giving away prizes during the show. Be sure to stop by the prize boards in center court as you go through the show to see if you're a winner. Super grand prizes will be drawn at center court at 1:50 p.m., and you must be present to win. Again, a special thanks to the DMC-NC for this morning's program. We now invite you to join us downstairs for the opening of the 37th annual AENC trade show. You can access the exhibit halls by just going down either the elevator or the escalators. We'll see you there. Thank you.